Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, come back to my YouTube channel and my video again. Okay, before that I must introduce myself. My name is Anada Syofira and I'm from Public Administration in University Lampung, and my NPN 19460410005, and I'm from Paralel class. Okay, this video it's the same of another video. I will talk about something that relate to public and make us know that public have something to us. Okay, we will talk about relate to public and what's going on in public and community. Why community need a public service for their lives, and why public service must have a good quality for community. Before we talk about the case or talk about the problem, we must know the background of the public service. What is public service? Yeah, like that. Before we go to the case, we must upgrade our mind to make before we give opinion, we must know the background, why we give the opinion about public service. Check it out. We will talk about public service. Public service is any form of service, both in the form of public goods and public service, which in principle become the responsibility and implemented by government agencies in the central, in the region, and within state-owned enterprises or regional-owned enterprises, in the order to meet the needs of the community and in the framework of implementing the provisions of legislation. Public service will run smoothly if the public can feel the impact. Therefore, can see good or not public service is derived from the assessment of the community. If we look at the reality, public service has a deficiency that is in the process providing public service. After we know that what is public service and the background of public service, we will talk about some case that it is currently happening in Indonesia, and public can feel the impact of the public service. The difficulty in creating identity cards in terms of public service is currently happening in Indonesia. Service in the making of identity becomes very important to be discussed because of the vigilance in terms of public service to the community. The obscurity in question is that the public domain or government is not currently fully a servant to the community as it has been for decades. Currently, in the era of digitization of parties outside the government is intensive in providing public service. Indeed, if we look back theoretical, the concept public administration according to Kaban 2008 is divided into three meaning variations, namely the terms administration of public, administration for public, and administration by public. And that's all more about administration public. We can talk about it because of this case is always make us know that administration is important for us Indonesian people. Wow! for Public, Kaban, explained that government has a more role in carrying out the task of providing public service. It is assumed that the context that the government is more responsive to what is needed by the community and knows that the best ways to meet their needs in the terms of public service. We know everyone has a need to live their lives, and everyone that's going on in public is related to the community. General description of public service in Indonesia, namely service to the community, has become the main objective in the administration of public administration. In Indonesia, the implementation of public service has become an increasingly strategic policy issue because the improvement of public service in this country tends to take place in place, while the implication as it is known are very broad because it touches all public spaces in economic, social, political, cultural, and other life. The poor quality of public service can be seen from a number of public schools that are not feasible and even worrying for teaching and learning activities. In addition, in other cases, several family heads had difficulty getting clean water in a number of areas. There are also problems within damaged roads which seem to be commonplace in Indonesia until now. Second, the low access to public service for vulnerable groups. This problem seems to be frequently encountered in Indonesia, where most vulnerable people find it very difficult to access various things, especially in terms of public service such as health, education, economic, and so on. Third, the poor quality of public service delivery. One example can be seen from the public transportation sector in Indonesia. According to Amelia 2016, the level of public transportation service in Indonesia is not good and not optimal. It can even be said to be bad, especially in the big cities. Many factors cause poor transportation service in Indonesia, such as accessibility, security, comfort, and so on. Fourth, the unclear complaint mechanism and dispute resolution. For the community, this condition of public service is also exacerbated by the unclear complaint mechanism that they can take when they get service that is disappointing or out of the standard. In fact, public service is a right of citizens whose fulfillment is the obligation of the state. For example, land disputes between residents are the government that occur in various regions in Indonesia. If we choose some theory that relate to the public service, I will choose no public service, and good governance are considered to be the most appropriate for current conditions in overcoming public service problem in Indonesia. Why? Because this was supported by a more democratic political situation and the openness of the government to the community. And for the effective implementation of this perspective, it can be applied by using several models such as the Citizen Charter model, the KYC or Know Your Customer model, and the M-Government model, which the aforementioned model. It is hoped that the obstacles that have hindered the effectiveness of the implementation of public service, it can be overcome so that the implementation of public service can be increased in effectiveness, even though all of them return to the person or implementer or this service, namely government officials and also community participants.